Hello team, hope you're all okay. Welcome to my channel. And if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. It's good to see you. Well, the sunshine with you as usual, which is great. Thanks very much. So this video, we are going to Lincoln Horse Trials. I took 3 horses. We took Cliff in the B100 and, took Cliff in the B100, and then we had Buster doing the intermediate, which was cool. And then Vinnie was doing the open intermediate. It's his first event in 2.5 years, so it's very exciting. Quite an emotional day, which was good. And then we've also had Henry going and doing his second show. So hope you're going to enjoy it, and I'll hand over to myself. Morning. How are you all doing? Hope you're all good. Just come to do some clear round jumping with Henry. This is his second go, but yeah, hopefully it should be good. Nice track, I think. Here he is, the big man. So he was actually incredibly well behaved. I was super pleased with him today. When I got on him in the lorry park, he was really good, acted like a very mature chap for his age, went down to the warm-up and warmed up really well. There were a couple of other horses in there and he dealt with those really nicely, so I was super chuffed with that. I then brought him in and just took my time when we came into the ring, which you can do with clear round, which is great. I also wanted to just take him through this little gap just there between those 2 jumps, because you had to go through that to get to the first fence. I just wanted to make sure that he was happy going through there. His whole attitude just in general was really good this time. So pick up trot, and then I was going to pick up canter in the corner, so he's got plenty of time. Again, keeping it lovely and relaxed. And, if he breaks into trot, I'm not too worried, but I just want to keep it so he's enjoying himself and having a relaxed time. So through that little gap confidently, so that was really good. And then to our first fence, Oxer. Had a little look, not quite straight there, but he's allowed to have a little look. He's green, he's young, but he's maintaining the canter nicely, so this is good. And then we come round to a 3-stride related distance. And he actually just starts doing a poo now, which actually slowed us down a little bit, but jumping well. Good boy. I got him behind him there a little bit. And then round to Oxer on the wall, which is always quite spooky, but he was really confident there, so that's good. And then level up here to the upright. And then back to trot, pick up right canter, good boy. And I was really pleased with this bit. He came down here in a really lovely level rhythm to this blue Oxer. Really nicely over that, landing in a really good balance. And then round to our double. We've not done that many one-strided doubles, and I was a little bit there at the turning. I was just a little bit late to guide him, so he came against me, jumped it well, and then down to this upright. Super pleased with him. I thought it was really good. Good boy. We are off to Lincoln Horse Trials today. We've got 2 horses running. I'm just riding Cliff because he is on tomorrow. Yeah, come join us. We have arrived. Lincoln Showground. It's a really good event, this one. Courses are really good. Ground's always good, especially when it's not too wet. But even when it's wet, it's pretty good. Actually, should be perfect today with any luck. So yeah, we've got 2 boys. We've come in our 4.5 tonner. I say ours. It's one that I borrowed because my lorry is in the garage. She's feeling poorly. She's actually having a new ramp put on, which is exciting, but also jolly expensive. Anyway, so yeah, we've got the 2 boys. We're looking forward to a fun day. First combination on the curve. Just coming towards us. Red flag on the right, white flag on the left. Nice straightforward fence. Boys will like that. Coming through scary little farmyard and up onto the mound, and our 2 skinnies there. Not too bad. Back to the ones down here. Quite upside. Nice brush parallel. Number 7. Quite straightforward. Come on, cruising and down here through the trees to our roll top. Intermediate fences always with green numbers. And then 9, A and B, going up the slope. Fairly decent brush. And then down the skinny beyond. Cool. And then to the water. So we've got a decent chest on the way in. Two bits of water here, so actually this is going to be really good for Buster. Chest in, decent enough fence, then looks like 2 strides in the water, step, and then 3 strides probably to the brush there, and then back into another water. So really good for Buster to jump into water twice, because he can sometimes over jump a little bit. And this fence on the turn at 12. It's actually relatively upright in front, so you just want to be a little bit careful of that. Needs respect, especially things you're on the turn. And then we'll come down towards this open ditch fence. Not looking down into the ditch, looking up and onto the next fence, just that way. So this is quite a tricky combination. So we come into this fairly decent brush opposite as a shoulder brush, and then we have to curve to the left and then jump that corner there on 3 strides. Walks on, and then from the corner then curve to that skinny as well. There's plenty to jump here. Tricky. So then you've got a straightforward log, and then up to this combination. So you've got this brush panel on a bit of an angle, and then it's walks on 3 strides after this to an angled gun cartridge, and then you curve around and then over that red cartridge on the angle. So plenty to think about. 17, nice decent edge. Kick on boys, kick on. And then we're coming up to hanging log. It's got a little bit of a drop on it as well. Again, another nice fence. Oh yeah. Little ramp. And then on towards the sausages over there. Here we come to rail ditch rail. So this is quite a strong question. Normally rides very well, but they've got open rails this time, so you can see a bit more, so got to be bold. These boys will be fine, they'll love this. There goes Maxie. Max Robertson. So actually, just watched a couple of the first few that are going down the V100, the ground is absolutely fantastic. So this is second last fence, I think. Chicana. It's got a ditch underneath it, but that should just help get these boys in the air. Another nice fence. And over the road and then to the house there. That's the last fence. This should be fun. Buster is smiling with the camera. Oh boy. Get himself ready for the dressage. Happy chap. So sorry, we didn't quite get the very beginning of the test, so we're midway through the trot work here into our medium trot. I thought that looked rather nice. Nice frame, good rhythm, good balance. He does look very well, doesn't he? Nice and shiny in the sunshine. And then into a shoulder in up this long side. Good positioning, rhythm. Just lost the rhythm slightly there in the middle. And then round, and then a walk transition at C. And then this, good boy, could have been a little bit more forward in the walk transition, I would have said. And then round, and then we do a half 20-metre circle in long rein walk. And then we go on to 2 half 10-metre circles in medium walk. So I find this movement very, very difficult with the slightly older, more experienced event horses that have done this a lot. This is a lot of walking them to do. I think he could have had more stretch there. He could have had more purpose in that walk. Not too bad in the medium walk, could have had a bit more connection, but he's just about to jog. He just did slightly there, so he did feel slightly tense in that walk. And then we come to do our counter transition, and he's doing a poo at the worst possible moment. So it was a rather not very clean in that counter transition, so that was a real shame. Then down, and it's a 20-metre circle in medium canter. Nice transition up. I think I could have been bolder, to be honest. And I think I let it peter out a little bit. You know, it could have been bolder all the way around, so from marker to marker. And then down, then it's half 10-metre circle onto the centre line, and then across back to B. So a bit of counter now. So keeping the energy in the canter, we're just losing the jump to the canter a little bit. And then we were a little bit gradual in the downward transition to walk, and could have been a little bit straighter. relatively clean on the upward, which that's quite good. And then back round, and then we do the same the other way. So 20-meter circle in medium. Again, not too bad a transition. A little bit bolder, I'd say, this way. So that's good. Keep, and then the transition back. Yeah, I think that was better that way. And then our half 10-meter circle back to the track. And we go a little bit half-passy here. It needs to be straight back to that marker, but we go a little bit across and a little bit half-pass like. But it's good to keep him, on the correct lead there. Good boy. A little bit cleaner in his simple change that time, so that's good. Good in the frame there. And then this is quite tricky. Go straight line down that long side, so I'm thinking a little bit shoulder 4 to keep him straight. And then we go up the centre line, and then with a trot transition at X, and then halt at G. A little bit more forward, Simon, straightness there, again, shoulder 4. Not too bad transition, and then forward into a halt. Oh, good boy. Did try hard, didn't he? And then we were on to Vinnie Vincenzo. So actually had a very, very quick turnaround. So I was really grateful to Amanda. She was absolutely brilliant. Had this chap well and truly ready for when I got back with Buster. Went down there and warmed up actually very well. Bearing in mind, he's not been to an event for 2.5 years. I was expecting him to be pretty wild, but actually he really kind of settled in and warmed up really nicely. Was really focused. Good entry. Then onto our medium trot here. I was a little bit tentative here because I was thinking, just make sure that he doesn't get too wild, Simon. And I think I was just a little bit too tentative in that. And then round to our shoulder in right. First shoulder in of the test. And there's Anna in the foreground. Could have had a little bit more bend through his body there. And then round and then medium trot across the diagonal. Once more. Again, good frame, but again, could have asked more, I would say. But again, it's very different when you're sitting. It's easy to sit here and say that. It's when you're sitting on them and, they are a little bit fresh and they are a little bit tense. It's difficult to ask that a little bit more. So bend is better this way in the shoulder in. More consistent. And then walk transition at C. Nice and forward in the transition, just a little bit on the forehand maybe. And then onto our long rein walk. And again here, I'm being a little bit tentative. Could ask for a little bit more, I'd say. Just could do with a little bit more march than that walk step. The stretch is not too bad. Good boy, Vinny. He's such a good boy. He does try really hard. And then onto our medium walk, half 10-meter circle to the centre line. And then our half 10-meter circle right. Again, just making sure he stays in that walk, thinking about the connection. Again, could be just a little bit more positive. Good counter transition. And then we come down, halfway down to our 20-meter circle. That's it. Again, probably could have asked a little bit more there. Should have shown a bit more of a defined transition up. Transition back, not so bad. And then we go half 10-meter circle, returning to the track at B. Good in the frame there. But we're just losing that true canter beat there, so we must make sure that he stays forward and positive. Good in the walk transition. Good in the canter upward transition, so good simple change there. And then back round to our 20-meter circle at E in medium canter. He just went a little bit tense here. I could feel him going a little bit tense in that canter. So again, I could have been a little bit bolder in that canter in the medium, but he did feel like he'd gone a little bit tense in the canter there. Good transition back, keeping the connection, and then half 10-meter circle onto the centre line, and then returning to the track at E. Again, he thought about doing flying change there, so he just went a little bit tense. So there I just had to make sure that he kept left bend, so that he stayed in that counter, and so that made that simple change a little bit more muddled than the other way. And then down this long side, trying to be as straight as possible. Ooh. And then up the centre line in the canter. Trot at X. Good boy. Nice and straight. Certainly looks like from this direction. And then into our halt transition. Good boy. Well done, Vinnie. Then it was time for a very quick changeover for the show jumping and Buster's go. So we did all of Buster's show jumping, all of his cross country, and then Vinnie did all his jumping phases. I thought that Bo had designed a really nice track. The ground was super, which was fantastic. And he started off really nicely, jumped that really well. I slightly collapsed on landing in my body there, so make sure I keep your body up so that I'm there to support him. And then down this related distance, could have been a little bit sharper in front there. And then good rhythm, again thinking energy. And then he does a little spook here at one of the fences he's going to jump later on, so he's definitely on form, which is good. And actually that put in a bit more energy into the canter step, and then he jumped that fence better, I thought. Then down to our double here on one stride, decent upright on the way in, oxer on the way out. Good with the straightness, Simon. And then rhythm, and then to our related distance here, and just 2, 3, 4, very good. Could have been a little bit straighter, drifted a little bit to the left there, Simon, and then back round to the fence that he spooked at earlier, so you're red upright. And then he just actually spooked slightly at it, which kind of surprised me, so I slightly overrode on those last couple of strides. Down to the treble, and I think I just got a little bit ahead of him there, and I think that's why he had it down. Real shame. So on to the cross country. So he'd done a 28.6 dressage, 1 down in the show jumping, so still relatively competitive. And also he has got things coming up. He's got a 3-day event coming up, not in the not too distant future. So I thought just move on a little bit, use this as a fitness thing, as well as the fact that it's a competition and that we're trying to be competitive. And here coming down to the roll top, jumped that hedge brush really well, kept coming to that. Here I think I was a little bit more defensive, just want to make sure I keep that rhythm and keep that flow. And he looks a good picture, doesn't he? Winding his way through the trees and then up the slope to the brush, and then 4 strides to our blue skinny. Really neatly over the brush, 2, 3, 4. Super confident there, really pleased with that. That was super, spot on. And then he went down to the water fence really well, and then he did the brush to the corner to the skinny very well indeed. He was really on it. Got his ears pricked the whole way, really confident. Now coming up towards the brush panel on the angle, and then 3 strides to the angled gun cartridge and the curve to the other cartridge. Again, I think I slightly over set up, but then nice balance through there, good on the 3 strides. Looks like I went a little bit to my inside hand there, a bit too much, but really confidently through there. So we'll have a look at that in slow motion. So coming up and then making sure that I keep my body up, so I'm in a good position to be able to balance. Lower leg looks good, slightly collapsed on landing there. Eyesight, make sure you look early enough, which was good there. And yes, I am going to my inside rein a little bit too much. This is where it's so important to ride the outside of them when you're working on the flat. That's where that comes into play. But actually, not too bad. Actually, I think I recovered that quite well and used the outside aids quite well. And he jumps out really nicely, so that's great. Good boy. And then coming on to the fairly decent hedge, I saw my distance about here and feeling very confident there, and really getting into the groove, getting into the rhythm. That's what we want to be like, especially when we're trying to be that little bit more competitive and being that little bit quicker. Now coming up to the hanging log with the drop, which he jumped very confidently, very good boy. Go on then, Jerry. So, are you happy with your boys?
I'm delighted with my boys. Absolutely gorgeous.
He's such a clever boy, isn't he? Well done.
As is Simon as well.
She has to say that. Showing off his woof wear ice boots. Very snazzy bit of kit. Post cross country care. Good boy. He's so clever.
Simon Reeve with the Ruckman. Dressage score is 30.
Then it was time for Vinnie's go. Now, this actually was quite an emotional day for me with this horse. He has been off for quite some time, as I've already said. And so it was just so lovely to have him out at a competition and doing an event, doing what he absolutely loves. He was quivering with excitement for the show jumping. He knows exactly what's coming. He knew that cross country was on the cards. But he was really good and really focused on doing a good job and trying to jump well. So biggest thing with him is making sure the quality of canter stays good. Quite often he'll come down on a back rail if the canter's not good enough, so I was constantly thinking I need more engagement, more energy. And he jumped nicely through there, landed on the incorrect lead, but that doesn't matter. We kind of stay in balance. Coming around to our double here. Again, thinking about straightness, slightly drifted right, but not too bad. And then on the inside line there to our related distance here on 4 strides. Level rhythm, lovely and confident there. And really good over that. Good boy. A little bit straighter than with busters, that was good. And then round to our upright. Again, good rhythm, keeping it level, keeping it consistent. And then down through our treble, 2 strides and 1 stride. Neatly through there. Good boy. Very clever indeed. Good lad. And then on to the cross country. So the cross country, he again was super excited before he even started, and I absolutely had decided in my head that he was in quite a competitive position, but I wanted to take my time. I wanted to take it steady. I want to look after him, basically. He's been off for a long time, and it was a question of seeing how he's going to cope. Here, I walked it on 3 strides. I actually popped in a 4th stride there just to take care of him, because actually on that downhill slope, it actually ended up being quite punishing on them on that last stride. So I just wanted to take that away a little bit, so that's why I added that extra stride in there. And then coming down to the brush oxer, and again, just taking my time, a little bit close there, but that doesn't matter. He's an experienced horse, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's very good at looking after himself and just getting into a rhythm and just making sure that I stay in control and keeping him balanced all the way. And especially when they've been injured in the past, it's keeping that balance is really, really important. And then wiggling his way through those trees, and then he goes up the slope to our brush. You can just see it. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, beautifully through there. He's just super confident. He's really happy and knows exactly what he's doing. He knows his job inside out. Again, I'm taking it really steady, just wanting to make sure that I look after him. And then coming back to our brush panel to the angled, found that quite short. He's got such a rangy stride. He just found that distance quite short in there, but absolutely fine. Very confident, very happy through there. And then on to our hedge, and again, we're just taking it nice and steady, not in a rush. But we don't want to go so slow that it ends up being awkward. So it's finding that happy balance. I want to keep him happy, and I want to look after him. And then coming up to our hanging log with the drop. And again there, smile on his face, looks very happy with what he's doing. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am to the people that work for me. They have been looking after this horse like a king for the last couple of years to try and get him back to eventing. We were told that he might not event again, and here he is having a great time, and it is all thanks to my team. I cannot thank them enough. Thank you so much, guys. So Vinnie has just had a lovely, lovely time, because, haven't you? Yes, he is. Look at him. He's very happy with himself. He's just had a lovely time jumping a double clear. We were very slow, but I don't care because he had a lovely time. That was the whole aim of today. We've got his ice boots on, trying to look after him. Good day. Excellent. Well done, Vincenzo. He hasn't evented for 2.5 years, and he literally was marching around the lorry park like the cat that's got the cream. He was so pleased with himself, like a boss. He was like, yeah, I'm amazing, which is really cool. It's so nice to see. And then, just having a little drinky over there. Buster, he had one down, which was really annoying. Without the fence down, he'd have been second, but he finished 5th. So really pleased with that. Did a really nice test. Fabulous cross country. Next one for him will be Thorsby 4-star. So assuming it's all good and everything goes according to plan. So looking forward to that. And yeah, so exciting. So day tomorrow for we've got Cliff going and doing the B100. So maybe you might want to come along with that. Yes, he was just having a roll because he's thinking he's very cool. Because you are. You're very cool, aren't you? He says, yes, I am, Simon. Thanks very much for noticing. So, really good day yesterday at Lincoln. So we're going back there again today with Cliff. Just riding little man first before we go. So we'll see you there. Straight into it, folks. So he warmed up nicely, confidently, good boy. Just a little bit on the forehand and perhaps not going forward enough, but coming up the centre line. Nice straight entry. Very good boy. And he felt this time, you guys have watched him do a couple of tests now, he felt this time like he was a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more in tune, and a little bit more focused on the job in hand, which is really good. Better frame there. Just making sure that he stays forward. So then we come round to the bottom here, and then we go on to a 3-loop serpentine. Thinking about the shape, making sure that the loops, all 3 loops go to the side of the arena. Again, keeping him forward, being positive, a little bit on the forehand there. But he does naturally creates a very attractive picture, which is good. And then we come round, and then it's a counter transition between C and M. So then he just came against me a little bit there. I think I could have prepared a little bit more for that. Then right hand turn, then a 20-meter circle at X. Need more oomph in the canter there for me. And it's getting better as we go along. And then turning right at E. And then the chop transition at H. That was good, in a good balance. Again, slightly on the forehand. And then forward to walk. And again, making sure that he's marching in that walk, keeping him so that he's moving forward. Just a little bit behind me in this, so a little bit more, get him stretching out, again, just marching out a little bit more. Could just do a little bit more over track, I'd say, a little bit more stretch, a little bit more purpose to the walk. And then down, and then we pick the reins back up. So we're in a medium walk, and then a trot transition at K. Could have been a little bit more forward in that transition again. And then another counter transition similarly, just came against me a little bit. Need to work on those, just getting him so he's just a little bit soft in the counter transition. And then better frame. Onto our 20-meter circle at X. Good boy. Again, it's very polite. It could just have just a little bit more pizzazz, a little bit more oomph in that canter step, then another trot transition, then straight into our 3-loop serpentine going the other way. Again, making sure that he stays forward and positive through those loops, making sure that I'm really accurate. Just a little bit behind me there. So I'm just going to do a poo, so I'm going to be even more behind you now, Simon. And then we get a little bit more oomph in the trot. And then we do down to E, and then a half 10-meter circle to X, and up the centre line, and halt and salute at G. And if you remember, last time his halt was a little bit muddled. Better this time. Good boy. Well done. He was really well behaved. I thought I was really pleased with him. After dressage, I walked the course with my mum, the cross-country course, and we got a little bit carried away chatting, and so we actually ended up being a little bit later than anticipated down to the show jumping, and then they were running early, so I had to warm up fairly quickly, which is not a bad thing. I'm kind of better under pressure, so that was fine. But here he jumped that line really nicely, and then we just hear good energy in the canter. I like this, but then I think I closed it down a little bit too much. And then similarly, coming down here, I think I closed the canter down a little bit too much to the double. But he still is jumping nicely, he's still jumping well, he's still jumping confidently, so that's really good. And then round to our related distance. Again, focusing on keeping him level, keeping rhythmical, keeping him confident. Again, I added a stride in there, and I don't think I really needed to. And then I asked for a flying change, which didn't come off. I should have been quicker then to reorganize him. And again, I went a little back, went to my hand there, but still not bad. Just you know, things for the future. And when the fences start getting bigger in competition, that's when you need to be thinking about these things. Rhythm down to the last two, the double, neatly through there. He jumped really well. Good boy. Cross-country time. And actually, for Cliff, we had a few people dotted around the cross-country course. So we actually got an awful lot of his round, you'll be glad to know. So that's fence 1, and then coming down to our little triple bar at fence 2. And I just let him keep on cruising down here in a nice rhythm. And he jumped up really nicely, and then on down to the first kind of combination type fence on the course. It was a log, and then 5 strides to the viaduct wall. And can see here, I'm just trying to focus on keeping him so that he's relaxed, he's soft, and that he's in balance on this cross-country course, keeping him confident. And there, he almost found the distance a little bit short, but really confident through both parts there. And then this is from the other side. Nice, and then just let him cruise on down here, down towards the brush on the turn. Having seen the intermediates jump the slightly bigger brush, this is just a smaller version on the same corner. And he jumped that nicely. He's becoming more and more confident with his cross country. You know, he's not done very much of this, so I'm really pleased with how he is establishing himself. He's becoming more and more confident all the way, and that's Tricana there, and he jumped that really nicely, so that's really good. Then down the hill, and then over, sorry, it's a little bit blurry, but then over Palisade, and then round towards 2 steps up, which he jumped really nicely, and then down a slope, and then round to the left, and then to the water fence, which was these 2 barrels, then into the water, and then across, and then out over quite a narrow fence on the way out. So I was really pleased with this. I thought he was really focused. I thought he did a really professional job. So yeah, really, really good there. And then we come round to a little tricky little combination, little roll top, 4 strides on the curve to a corner. And again, you know, he's becoming more and more professional as he's going along, really confident through there. And then coming towards the end of the course now, jumping the chair there, and then through these trees, and then you come to an oxer. And again, here I think I rather slightly broke the rhythm. Got him back a little bit too much, could have kept the flow a little bit better, but still really confident, really happy with that. And then moving on to another Palisade. Oh, what a beautiful day it was. It was lovely, stunning weather, just blooming cold. Neatly over that, and then up the hill to rail through the hedge line. And again, super confident. You know, there's no if, buts or maybes with this horse. He's always keen to go, always confident. And then moving on up towards the second last, which was a little open ditch. And again, there, changed my mind a little bit too late. Could have kept coming in a better rhythm. I think we could have gone 1 stride less there, Simon. But better to be safe and make sure that he stays in balance. And then moving on towards the final fence, which was a nice little house. And I have to say, I was really pleased with how he went. I thought that was a really good effort. And looking forward to the next. Thank you so much for joining us for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. The horse was absolutely fantastic. Join us next time. If you've enjoyed this video, then like, subscribe, comment. Love hearing your comments. Thanks so much for joining, and see you again soon.